All right, Coach Steve here. Today we are going to do a body weight routine. Let's call it calisthenics. And there'll be 9 exercises. There'll be 3 rounds today. If you have time for 1 round, just do 1. If you have time for 2, do 2. If you have time for more, then go ahead and do more. We'll start with a little warm up. We'll get into the routine. Each exercise will be about a minute long. And we'll have a minute break in between each round and a little stretch at the end. All right, so go ahead and get your legs a little further than hip distance apart. Let's go ahead and spin side to side. Really concentrate on turning that spine, engaging the shoulders. All right, let's put our fist in front. We're gonna cross punch to warm up, so nice and easy. Extend that back as far as you can to the right and to the left. Really stretch the back, get the toes involved, get the ankles involved to loosen those up. All right, let's go back to center. Let's do just a half squat and a reach. Nice and easy. As we progress today, we should be able to get a little bit further down each time. All right, let's do 2 more. All right, and rest. All right, we're gonna go down on the ground first. And we're gonna do crab walks. If you're unable to do a crab walk and just wanna do a tricep dip off of a chair, that'd be a good place to start for today. And if you need a further modification, you can actually just kick those arms straight back, and you can use a little bit of weight in that if you want. It's not necessary, but if you bring your arms back straight like this, when you're standing, then you'll get those muscles in the back of your arm activated. All right. Let's get into crab position. All right, ready? Whoops. Make sure that if you're recording your workout for today that you start your watch. Almost forgot that. All right, ready and go. So we're just gonna move around a little bit doing this crab walk. Just back and forth, nice and easy. If you have more room in the place that you're working out and you can crab walk around your room, your building, go ahead and do that. You can feel those triceps working, especially if you bend your elbows just a little bit. That'll engage those muscles in the back of your arms. All right, and rest. All right, we're gonna flip over and do a donkey kick. If you need a modification where you are not going on the ground, just go ahead and kick your leg straight back like that. Otherwise, we are on the ground. Ready? And go. And we're donkey kicking it up. Kick it straight up. Really working the glutes, really engage those glutes when you kick it back. Really engaging that lower back, the glutes, the hamstrings each time we kick back. All right, 15 seconds. And rest. All right. We are back up to our feet. So this next exercise, we're going to do a standing side bend. Really going to work our lats on this one, as well as our shoulder mobility. And go. So we're really reaching across. Reach it across. Really working our core. So we're really crunching our core on this side and really lengthening it on this side. So really reach it across. Stretch out that back. All right, 15 seconds. And rest. All right. So our next move is going to be a fight move, and today we're going to do uppercuts. So go ahead and get those legs a little further in hip distance. Go ahead and bounce around a little bit on your knees, and we're going to uppercut. Uppercut. Ready? And go. Really stop quick. That'll really engage your muscles as you punch it forward. If you want to use a little bit of weight for this one, you could. Some little hand weights. Give you some extra little muscular work as you go through this workout. Don't forget why we're doing these workouts. We are trying to set the groundwork for the rest of our lives, make good habits. I saw a video the other day where it talked about like, why are we doing this? And rest. And somebody was working out with some older adults, and the tagline was, why do we do these squats and all these other things? Is so we can get up off the toilet when we're by ourselves when we're 90. So I thought that was a pretty cool message. So, all right, let's go ahead and put our arms up. We're going to raise the roof. This is a little shoulder exercise. So go ahead and raise the roof. Good job. Keep it up. Good job. You can even walk around when you do this a little bit. All right. 5 seconds. And rest. Whew. All right, shake it off. All right, so our next exercise is going to be clock lunges. Whoop. A little woodpecker scared me there for a minute. All right, so pretend like we're on a giant clock, and we're going to keep our right foot planted. and then hit the other leg with the different numbers on the clock. All right, ready? And go. So we're gonna hit 12 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. For 3 o'clock, we're going behind. 4 o'clock, we go a little further behind. 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock, you're doing a back lunge. Whoop. 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock is a side lunge. 9 o'clock. And step forward for 10. Step forward for 11. And back to 12. All right, let's keep going. Back to 1. We got 15 seconds left. 2, 3, 4, 5, and back for 6. All right, and rest. All right, we're on the ground next. We're gonna do some twists, and you can do these on a chair as well. Just make sure that you turn at 90 degrees with your body. So really straighten the spine up. Let's put our hands together and turn to 90. Touch the ground, turn to 90. Touch the ground if you're able to. If you're on a chair, go ahead and do the same thing. And again, we're working our core out on this one, so we need to use our core. How do we do that? How do we make sure we do that? Get those shoulders at 90 degrees from where they usually are. When we do that, we ensure that we engage our spine as we move right and left. All right, we got 10 seconds. And rest. All right, our last exercise is a squat, so let's go ahead and stand up. Get those legs a little further in hip distance. We can put our hands either on our hips, or we can give it a little pop up at the top for a little jump. All right, go ahead and start. And again, you can speed it up or slow it down. If you need to hold on for stability, go ahead and do that. Try to keep those feet pointed forward. Put your hands right on your hips. You can feel your quads engage. You can feel your glutes engage with your thumb wrapped around. So just give you some points to make sure that those muscles are doing what they need to do as far as engagement goes. All right, we got 15 seconds. And rest. All right. All right, we have a 1 minute break in between sets. So go ahead and grab yourself a drink. Center your breathing a little bit. Get ready for round number 2. Think about what I said before, in that, you know, as we age, we need to actually start these exercises early on in life, especially if you took a gap between, you know, having kids, 20 and 40, then you need to get back into it. Just so when we get to, you know, our 70s, 80s, and 90s, that we're still able to move around, do what we want to do. And like that lady said on that video, get up off the toilet by ourselves. All right, we're on the tricep dips, tricep extensions, or crab walks. So go ahead and get into position and go. Just nice little steps if you're doing a crab walk. If you're doing those kickbacks, you can actually use a couple little hand weights to keep yourself focused. All right, 20 seconds. And rest. All right, we're flipping all the way over and we're doing some donkey kicks. Again, if you want to go against the wall and kick those legs straight back to engage those very similar muscles, go ahead and do that. Ready, and go. Engage those glutes. Make sure you squeeze those glutes up at the top. Really engage those muscles. You can dip the body a little bit forward when you kick. Don't forget to smile. You made it this far. Keep it rolling. All right, 15 seconds. And rest. All right, nice job. We are up to our feet. We're gonna do our clock lunges next. Why are we doing our clock lunges again? Just because we need to make sure that we go both ways on each one of these rounds. So let's go ahead and get centered. This time, let's keep our left leg static and work around the clock. Ready, and go. So that's 1 and 2. And if you can't get all the way around on these clock lunges, just do those lunges in different directions, just to kind of train your body to do those lunges in different angles. When you get to 9 o'clock, try to do a curtsy lunge where we're going straight behind, and then 10 forward, and 11, back to 12. All right, 15 seconds. And rest. All right, we're coming to center and we're gonna do standing side bends next. All right, so we're reaching it over as far as we can. Try to extend those lats as far as you can to the right and to the left. All right, 15 seconds. and rest. Whew. All right, let's get our legs a little further in hip distance. We're gonna do our uppercuts next. So let's get our fists close to our body and we're punching up. Remember, if you wanna use some hand weights to make this a little more difficult for yourself, go ahead and do that. Ready, and go. Make sure you get your hips into it, work that coordination a little bit as well. Nice quick stops that'll increase that tension that your muscles feel. If you just flop around like a fish, then it's not going to do much for you other than just a little bit of maybe agility. All right, here we go. 10 seconds. And rest. Okay. Next we got our shoulder endurance exercise. So put your hands up. We're going to raise the roof. Ready, and go. The first 30 seconds of this is pretty easy. It's a little more difficult as we go. Right, keep it up. You got this. Ten seconds. And rest. All right, we are back to clock lunges. For this time, we're setting our right foot and doing our clock lunges from there. Ready, and go. And again, the point here is not to be super accurate with these numbers. The point is that we work those muscles in our legs at all the different angles. So when things come up and we have to move like that in our lives, our body's prepared for that. It can move in these different angles. All right. All right, 10 more seconds. And rest. All right, we are down on the ground again for some twists. Again, the important part here is that you turn at a 90-degree angle. Let's put our hands together. Ready, and go. If you lean back, that's going to make it a little bit harder. Our objective here is to use our core, so really try to engage that core as you do this today by turning those shoulders at 90 degrees each time. This is a good one for a little hand weight too, because it focuses your attention on getting that weight off to the side each time you go. All right, 10 seconds. and rest. All right, we're up for our squats. Again, you have an option of throwing a jump at the top if you need this to be a little more intense for yourself. All right, ready? And go. Last exercise of round number 2. You should be able to get a little deeper on this round since your body's a little bit more warmed up. Just pay attention to your body. If it feels like it's too much, back it off a little bit. If you feel like you can do a little bit more, get a little deeper. All right, we got 15 seconds. And rest. All right, round 2 in the books. All right, so let's take a little break. We got 1 minute in between sets here. We got 1 set to go. You guys have been doing great. Keep up the good work. Get a little deep breathing in. Grab yourself some water. Remember, water is an important thing for a lot of different things. Keep your body hydrated. If you take medication, it is a good vehicle to get that medication where it's supposed to go. If you take vitamins, it's good for you to have water with that, obviously, to get those vitamins where they need to go and those nutrients. So keep that in mind. Always hydrate, especially for turning in the summer here, and we need to concentrate on that a little bit more. All right, next is our crab walk. I'm gonna do side crabs this time. So if you just wanna kick your arms straight back, you should feel those muscles engage and go. This is how I envision crabs going anyway, because most crabs go side to side, at least in my mind they do. All right, we got 10 seconds. And rest. All right, we got donkey kicks next. So if you're in a standing position, kick your legs straight back. If you're gonna go to all fours, let's make sure we engage those glutes. Flip it over. Ready, and go. You can bring those arms down a little bit as you kick. Kick those legs straight back. Engaging the glutes and engaging those hamstrings. Point that foot down when you get back there to really engage that posterior chain. All right, 5 seconds. And rest. Whew. All right, we are back up for our clock lunges. First set on the last round. All right. And again, do what you can on these. Try to go a couple different ways at least if you can't make it all the way around. I'm gonna plant my right foot first and go. Go straight back for 6 o'clock. Side lunge for 9. Back to 12. 10 more seconds. And rest. Awesome. All right. Legs back to a little further than hip distance. We got our side bends. So really concentrate on reaching across, engaging the sides of your body. Ready and go. All right, you got this. We got 20 seconds left. And rest. Whew. That's a good one. It really limbers up your spine. Get it moving a little different way than usual. All right. Legs back to hip distance. Let's get our knees a little bouncy for this fight move one. Just put your fists right in front of your body and uppercut. Keep those motion nice and snappy. Ten seconds. And rest. All right, we got raise the roof next. Whew. So rotate those hips around a little bit. Let's get your hands off to the side and go. Really working your shoulder endurance on this one. Really extend those arms all the way up. Keep it up. Almost there. 10 more seconds. And rest. Whew. All right, we got our clock lunges again. This time we're keeping our left foot kind of tacked to the ground. We're moving around on that clock. Ready? And go. And again, the point here is not necessarily to go to all the numbers, but just to get that lunge working in different directions. So you can work those legs in different ways. You never know when you're going to be called to action, and it's good for your body to be ready for that action. All right, 10 seconds. And rest. All right, we're down on the ground for our twist. Again, if you want to grab a little hand weight, go ahead and do that. All right, ready and go. Get that head turned, get those shoulders turned. We're almost there. Whew. Really extend that spine when you're spinning. 10 seconds. And rest. All right, up to our feet for our squats. Okay. Whew. Again, if you want to put a little jump into these squats, go ahead and do that. You should be able to sink a little bit further in than you did the first 2 rounds. You should be nice and warmed up. We did a lot of lower body exercises, so you should be able to move a little bit easier this time. Ready and go. And again, if you need to support yourself, go ahead and do that. If you want practice getting out of a chair, just go ahead and get in and out of a chair. That'll focus your attention on practical application of these exercises that we do. You know, the crab walk and the donkey kick today. You know, never know when we're going to be on the ground. We're going to have to do that. Side bends, reaching for something high. Same thing with raise the roof. Uppercuts, you never know when you might need those things. Lunges and squats. Getting that lower body in shape and increasing that bone mineral density by doing these exercises. And our Russian twists to get that spine more pliable. All right, and rest. Excellent job. We did it. Let's stretch it out a little bit and we'll be done for the day. Okay, let's get our legs a little further in hip distance. Flip over our hands, stretch all the way up through your wrists. Try to get those arms as straight as you can. Stretch from those knees through the hips, up through your torso. Stretch those arms. Let's lean over to the side. All right, back at center. Let's go down to the left or the other side if you already did that side. All right, let's roll out our hips. All right, let's roll those hips the other way. All right, let's put our hands to the side, and I just want you to slide that hand down your leg as much as you can. Keep those shoulders squared up. All right, roll it back up. Let's go down the other side. All right, bring it back up. Let's take our right arm, bring it across our body and hold it with the left. Stretch out that shoulder. It's another good stretch for if you're sitting in front of the computer too much, or iPad or TV or whatever, just to loosen those shoulders up. All right, let's take the left hand or arm across your body, hold it with the right. Open those fingers nice and wide. All right, let's come up to a standing position. Roll out your shoulders. Really expand your chest when your shoulders go back. Really expand the back when your shoulders come forward. All right, thank you so much for coming today. I hope you got your body ready for the day whenever you're doing this. Make sure you grab yourself a drink. Get ready for the next time. This is Coach Steve signing off. Let me know if I can do anything for you.
Steven.
Yeah.